Chapter 2. Welcome to Foxhaven, Massachusetts. The moving van was almost empty. Victor sped down the ramp, the front tire of his bike high in the air like a horse pawing the sky. He weaved around the men in the foyer struggling with his mom's grand piano, coasted into the living room littered with boxes, and turned right into the still mostly empty dining room and wheeled into the kitchen. His mom was perched on the stainless steel counter talking on her iPhone. She threw Victor a double-stuffed Oreo and continued talking to her new boyfriend. "Yes, darling, but I want you to wait until the house is ready." Victor caught the cookie with one hand and turned his handle grip with the other. A long farting noise filled the air. His mom gave him the look. "No, darling, nobody was rude. That was Victor pretending to be a motorcycle." Victor circled the island and headed back the way he'd come. Victor didn't like his mom's latest darling. Victor was 13, a tall, skinny kid with brown, almond-shaped eyes and black hair, features he'd inherited from his Thai father. From his mother, Victor had received a mild case of geekiness. She'd always favored academics over sports, reading a book over chasing a ball. The one exception being her first choice of husband. Instead of marrying her college sweetheart, pudgy George Simpson, Cozy Bennett had fooled everybody by running off with the dashing Thai fighter pilot named Kasim Noparit. Unfortunately, it wasn't long before the marriage crash landed. On the day Victor was born, his dad died. Cozy had no choice but to pick up the baby and carry on. This time, when Victor reached the foyer, he turned right into the hallway and left into the elevator. In his 13 years, Victor had lived in some pretty cool houses, in some pretty cool places, but this was the first house to have its own elevator. He pushed the number 3 button with the toe of his sneaker, and up he went. Victor heard voices and headed that way. It was Joe and Mickey, 2 of the movers. They were in his mom's bedroom arranging the furniture. Well, they would have been if they weren't admiring the painting on the wall. It was a full-sized portrait of Major Occam, standing with her hands on her hips and some strange planet in the background. What made it different was the Major was sticking out of the painting like she'd run into the canvas from behind. "Hey, Victor, check this out." Joe pointed at the painting. "Ain't that something?" "Is your mom going to leave all these paintings?" Mickey asked. "Yeah, she thinks they're great." Victor adored his mother, even though she drove him crazy. She was the Cozy Bennett, the well-known mystery author who took her female hero, Cheyenne Eaglesmith, all over the world. Victor could say hello in at least a dozen languages. Hola, bonjour, good day, ciao, konnichiwa. But every time his mom finished a book, Victor knew to pack his bags. Their last house hadn't been a house at all, but a small, luxurious flat in Stockholm, Sweden. "Our next house is going to be big," his mother said, "with a garden and a swimming pool. I feel like a rat in a cage here." The new house wasn't big. It was colossal. A mansion made of stone, 3 stories high, sitting by itself on a hill overlooking the town of Foxhaven, Massachusetts. The nearest neighbors lived down the hill, at least 2 football fields away. On the ground floor, at the back, in the living room, the ceiling soared 30 feet above a green slate floor and a fireplace that was so large Victor could walk into it. 6 pairs of French doors opened onto a fieldstone patio, which bordered a swimming pool so long it took Victor 3 breaths to swim the length underwater. Beyond that, the whole backyard was a field of wildflowers. But Victor's new house, his mom had leased it for a year, really belonged to Chester Newport, who had mysteriously disappeared. Chester Newport was the famous author of Occam's Razor, starring the world's best-known female superhero, Major Occam. Victor loved Major O. He had all the early comic books and had been watching Occam's Razor online for years, except there hadn't been any new episodes since Chester Newport's disappearance. "Have you guys seen stairs to the attic?" Victor asked. "There were windows in the roof, so there must be a way up there." Joe and Mickey shook their heads. The Major was always playing with her belt buckle because it could do 100 different things, like change her hair color or her clothes she was wearing. Victor couldn't resist. He reached out and pushed the buckle on the painting. In the room across the hall, an orchestra started playing.